Hello lovelies, welcome to my channel. This is Tina. In today's video I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful pant trouser right here on your screen. If it looks like something you want to learn how to sew, please stay tuned till the end of the video. And I also want to use this opportunity to say thank you to my returning subscribers, and if you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please don't forget to click on the subscribe button, like, comment and share to your loved ones who might be in need of this video. So without further ado, let's get right into the business of the day, which is making this beautiful pant trouser right here. So firstly, I've gone ahead to lay out my fabric and fold it. Then here are the measurements we need: the waist measurements, the hip measurement, the tie, the trouser length and the crotch measurement. How do you get your crotch measurement? So it's your hip circumference divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches for a high waist pant. So yeah, I've gone ahead to calculated all my measurements, and now I'm just going to get into the tutorial proper. So firstly, I'm just going to rule a line across my fabric, which is going to be the starting line. After doing that, I will just go ahead and measure out the full length of my pants, meanwhile removing the 1.5 inches for the elastic. Meanwhile guys, this is a fitted pant, so we have to make sure the crotch is like accurate and also it will not be bulging down there. So I removed my 1.5 inch for elastic. I want a 1 inch elastic and then half inch for the 1.5 inch, and then the half inch on top of the starting line is going to be the, I'm going to leave it for joining. So yeah, I've taken the full length of my trouser, which happens to be 32 inches, and then I added 1 inches for hemming allowance. So after doing that, I'll just go ahead to get my crotch and my tie measurements whilst removing the 1.5 inches as well. So basically the hip length, the waist to hip is 9 inches, and then the crotch depth is 13 inches. So I just went ahead to rule out the lines for the hip and then the crotch depth. The first one is the hip and then the second one is the crotch depth. So after ruling out the hip and the crotch depth, I went ahead to measure out 3 inches downwards. That's below the hip line, below the crotch depth, for my tie measurements, and then I ruled the line across. After doing that, I just went ahead to label hip, tie, crotch and then hip measurements. Not that it is necessary, but I just had to do it anyways. So after doing that, the next thing I did was dividing the hip measurement by 4, which I imputed that on the hip line, the crotch depth line, the tie line, and also on the waist line. So after that, I used my ruler to connect the 3 points with a straight line. That's the crotch depth, the hip point, and then the waist line. So after that, I went ahead to divide my tie measurements by 2. Mind you, when you're dividing your tie measurements is by 2. So I divided the tie measurement by 2 and then I placed it on the crotch depth. Another way to get your crotch is by dividing half of your hip measurement by 4 again. Whatever it gives you, then you input it in your crotch depth. Let's say for instance, my hip measurement is 40, so let's just say 40 divided by 4 is 10. So you go ahead to divide that 10 by 4, which will give you 2.5. so that 2.5 is going to be your crotch. So I've gone ahead to impute the crotch there. I also went ahead to make a very nice curve there. If you don't know how to do the curve, just look at the video closely and you'll see what I did. So I went ahead to divide to measure what I have on my crotch and then divide it by 2. So whatever you get, you impute it on the tie line, the hip line, the crotch line, the waistline, and also at the hem of the trouser. After doing that, you just use your straight ruler to connect all the points together. That automatically becomes your green light. Every other measurement you're going to be taking is going to be divided by 2. So after marking that out, I'll just go ahead to use my straight ruler to connect all the lines together, just like you see me doing in the video. So now to our round measurement, I'll go ahead to take my waist measurements, but meanwhile I don't want to put that in front of the trouser, so I'm just going to take out my dart this way from the front of the trouser, from the crotch line. That's the middle of the pants. If you don't want to have crotch at the middle of your pants, you can just take it out just like you see me doing in the video. So this way I'm not going to have that in front of the pants. So now I'll just go ahead to divide my client's waist measurements by 5, which is 35 divided by 5, and whatever I got, I'm going to place it down starting from the center front of the pants. That's where the crotch extension is, just like you see me doing in the video, and then I'll put it down there, and then I'm going to add 1 inch for seam allowance. So I'll just connect the waist to the hip point, to the hip line, just like you see me doing. Just go ahead and connect the waist to the hip like that, and if you can just make it a bit curvy, you know what I mean. So after doing that, I went ahead to get my knee measurements. Mind you, we're making a fitted pant, a straight pant, so I went ahead to measure out my knee measurement at 22 inches. After doing that, I'll just draw a straight line across, So what you're going to do now is divide your thigh measurement by 2. For instance, your thigh is 26. You're going to divide 26 by 2. What you get is 13. So you now go ahead to divide that 13 by 2, and then you put ½ inch, you put one of it on the other side of the green line, and then the other one on the other side of the green line. So 13 divided by 2 is going to give you 6.5. So you're going to put 6.5 on this side of the line, and then this other 6.5 on the other side of the line. So we're going to do the same thing on the knee points. We're going to divide our round knee by 2. We'll go ahead to divide that 9.5 by 2, and it's going to give us 4.725. So we'll just go ahead and put the 4.725 on the other side of the line, and then the other 4.725 Is going to, like, you won't have any shortage there. It's just going to be like perfect and okay. So the next thing I did was to reduce the waist of my trouser by 1 inch. So at the crotch extension side of the trouser, you go down by ½ inch, and then you connect it like this, just like I'm doing in the video, to the other side of the waist. If you watch closely, you see what I'm doing. You're just going to take 1 inch down, and then you connect it just like you see me doing. And then after that, what we're going to do is just cut the trouser out, and then yeah, we're done with the front part of the trouser basically. And mind you, the 1 inch we marked down, you're not going to cut it just yet. It's still going to be there till after we're done cutting or drafting our back part of the trouser. So yeah, just look at it, it's still there till we finish cutting our back trouser. Okay, it's time to cut out the back, so I'll just go ahead. After folding my fabric, I placed the front pattern on it, and then I went ahead to extend my crotch extension and then also mark it down there. I marked 2 to 3 inches, 2.5 to 3 inches for my back crotch extension. So I went up to the waist, and then I went up by 1.5 inches from the front waistline. I went up by 1.5 inches. Then I measured my waist, starting from where the crotch extension is. I measured my waist, and then I placed it at the back without adding the allowance. Sorry, I didn't even know my head was actually covering the camera when it was recording. I'm so sorry. So you see how it is. I measured it from the crotch side and then to that side without adding the allowance. So I'll just take it like that and place it at the back, starting from the hip side of the waist forward. So after doing that, I just added 3 inches for both the dart at the back and then my sewing allowance in front. So I added 3 inches to the crotch, to the back waistline, and then I drew the line across. Meanwhile, the 3 inches, I just connected it to the front crotch line. The 3 inches I added after my waist measurement at the back, I connected it to the front crotch extension in front. So I just went in with 1 inches just to get a perfect curve, and I connected the waistline together. That's the crotch side and the hip. From the crotch to the hip side, just follow everything you see me doing step by step. The only thing you're going to change is if our measurement is different, you just work with your measurement. But everything you see me doing, just follow it step by step, and I'll show you your pants is going to come out really nice. So at the body of the pants, that's the knee line, the hem, I added 1.5 inches all down, but just the crotch extension I added 2.5 inches for the crotch, and then every other allowance I added was 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to join the 1.5 inches all through to the crotch extension, and you guys, our trouser is ready. If you've been watching to this point, please do not forget to subscribe, like and share my video to your family and friends who might need it. And thank you so much for your love and support. So what I'm going to do now is just cut the back. The back is ready, you guys. Just follow everything I do and trust me, you're gonna get it. So I just went ahead to cut out my band for the pants as well, because I like to do these things at once. I just cut out the band. If I'm adding pockets, I cut everything at once. So if I'm sitting to sew, it's just sewing. I'll hold it with 0.5 inches. I'll use 5 inches to hold the crotch, which I already did right here in the video. So I'm just going to press it down. Make sure you use 0.5 inches to join it, so you're going to have enough allowance so you don't exhaust all your allowance. So I used 0.5 inches to hold the crotch, and then I'll go and hold the back, and then I'll come back and show you guys. Before doing that, I went ahead to mark out my dart for the trouser. So just go ahead, mark out your dart. So as you're holding the extension, you hold the dart as well. So I went out to mark my dart, and then I'll mark the extension. I'll join the extension, and then I'll come and show you guys. So here guys, I'm going ahead to join the back to hold my dart, and also join the sides of the trouser, the 2 sides, mind you, just the 2 sides. I've not yet joined the back crotch. It's just the front crotch and the 2 sides of the trouser. You see me as I'm opening it, it's just the 2 sides of the trouser, not the back extension, just the front extension and the 2 sides of the trouser. So what you're going going to do next is arrange your trouser like this, like you see me doing. Then you divide the waist measurement by 2. Whatever you have, then you put it there, starting from the front crouch. Remember, we already joined the 2 sides, so remaining the back crouch for the waist. So you're going to get your measurements, your waist measurement divided by 2, and then you impute it on the waist, starting from your front crouch, just like you see me doing on the video. Whatever you get, you just mark it down, and whatever allowance is remaining, it's one to get rid of. Do you understand? Just watch what I'm doing closely and you're going to understand. You put in your waist measurements and then you mark it down. Initially I added few allowance for zip, which actually is not really even needed in this case. So now what you're going to do is whatever allowance is remaining at the waist, you're just going to hold it and then sew it down. When you're getting to your crotch depth, you're going to reduce it gradually till it gets to 1/2 inches. Just make sure whatever you're holding in your crotch depth is 1/2 inches. So now I've gone ahead to hold the waist and also trim off some of the excess allowance at the back. What we're going to do now is join the front the crotch depth together, and then we'll go ahead and sew. That's the only place left. You're just going to arrange it together like this, make sure it's equal, and then we're going to sew. Now I'm done joining the inner side of the trouser together, and then this is what I have, you guys. My trouser, my pants is coming out so lovely already. So that is it, everything matching. Mind you, the finishing of your trouser the finishing of your clothes, whatsoever you are sewing, matters a lot. So now what I'm going to do is I'll just lose out the back extension, because I'll be fixing my zipper at the back. I'll be putting the zipper at the back, so I'm just going to lose it a bit and then fix my band, and then I'll come back to overlock before hemming the down of the trouser. So this is the end of our tutorial, you guys. It's getting too long already, so we're just going to stop here, and thanks for watching.